when I used to drink. Now, I don't really drink alcohol anymore. I don't think I've had an alcoholic drink for over 4 years now. And I didn't have a problem with it. It's not that I have any moral problem with people who choose to drink. It's just, I got to the stage of my life where I thought, I just don't need this anymore.
It's not serving you.
It's not serving me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't like the way I feel with it. I don't like the impact it has on my sleep. But when I did used to drink, what was really interesting is I noticed if I had a glass of red wine, let's say in the middle of my working week in the evening, I wouldn't sleep particularly well. I'd have a headache the next morning. But the same glass on holiday, if I was on vacation with my family, it did nothing. I didn't feel anything. I slept really well. And I thought, wow, that's really, really interesting. The state in which you're in when you consume something makes a difference. And of course, when I say it like that, it's quite intuitive and quite obvious.
Yeah.
But I don't think we think about it. We think that 1 unit or 2 units of alcohol will have the same impact on us no matter when or how we're having it. And I don't think that's the case. The other thing I think we need to really be thinking about is, like, what is the stress load in our lives? So I was trying to explain, well, why is it gives me a hangover in my home life, but not when I'm on holiday? And I also think it might have to do with stress load. So in your home life where you're working and you're managing the kids after school clubs and, you're getting closer and closer to what I call your stress threshold, right? So maybe that glass of alcohol is tipping you over and you're feeling the effects. But let's say on holiday, you don't have emails to answer, you don't have your work to do, whatever it might be.
Good point.
You have a lot of headroom and resilience.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing we need to think about with alcohol, specifically around weight loss. Okay, where does alcohol fit in? I don't think it's helpful for most people, right?
Yeah, agreed.
It is full of
agree.
calories. It helps put on liver fat, which is super not helpful for overall health, our metabolic health. But I also understand that some people do like to consume alcohol. It's maybe a way that they wind down their day. Maybe it's something they do to connect them with other people. And so I'm always trying to give practical advice because there's optimum and then there's real life.
Right.
And some people, they can hear things on alcohol, but they're going to go, no, but that's how I finish off on a Friday my week. I have a glass of beer or a glass of wine. So I want to be totally transparent. I don't think it's helpful for most people, but I also do recognize that if we look at some of these long-living populations around the world, like the Blue Zones, for example, which is getting a lot of press at the moment because of the Netflix series, right? We have to also acknowledge that some of these long-living populations do have a glass of red wine most evenings.
Yeah, every night.
And are seemingly able to tolerate it, and they're still living to 100 in really good health. So what's going on there? Because we can say that there's no biological benefit to alcohol, and I'd probably agree with that, right?
Agreed.
But for some people, it's part of their culture. It's the way that they bond. And I think what happens in some of these blue zones is that they're getting everything else right? They're eating natural foods. It's local. It's seasonal. They're moving their bodies each day. They have a strong sense of community. They have low levels of stress. People aren't left isolated by themselves. The whole community comes together. Elderly people are living in extended families. And so I think if you look at alcohol through the stress lens, I think it teaches us quite a lot. If your stress load is low, well, I'm not saying there's a benefit to drinking alcohol, but you might be able to tolerate it.
Right.
If your stress load is high, it may well be tipping you over. The other thing I think where alcohol becomes really problematic for weight loss is to do with its impact on sleep.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We've all got our unique threshold, but for some people, even half a glass of red wine will tank your REM sleep, which is a very important phase of deep sleep. REM sleep is also called, by a lot of sleep researchers, emotional first aid. Right? So it's how we deal with our emotions. We process memories. We take the sting off difficult experiences and lay them down in a more, a less triggering fashion. Right? Which is why I think for people who are suffering with their mental health, I think alcohol can be really problematic because you lose REM sleep.
Yep.
The other thing alcohol does is it fragments our sleep. So often people don't even realize that they're getting up multiple times in the night. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. They think they've slept well, and then they're thinking, well, why am I so tired today? So I think, yes, a lot of alcoholic drinks have too many calories in, too much sugar in, which is not going to help you if you're trying to lose weight. But I also think that alcohol's impact on our sleep is highly problematic. And for some people, it's going to really get in the way of their weight loss. And so for that person who still wants to have a drink, what I would say to them is, look, I think it's better for you to try not to if you can. But if you really do want to have that, try and have as little as you can, right? Let's say you're used to having 3 glasses of wine.
Start to taper
Try
down.
and see if you can have just 1 glass, but also have it earlier in the evening. So if you were to have let's say you finish work at 5, and again, I need to be careful how I say this. I'm not recommending that people drink, right?
I can feel people's brain going, oh, okay, wait, this is
Here, let me put it this way. A 5 p.m. glass of red wine is going to have less impact on your sleep than a 10:30 p.m. glass of red wine that you have in front of the television, because you will have metabolized and processed some of that wine by the time you go to sleep. So if you are going to have it, early is probably better, as long as that earlier glass doesn't turn into the whole bottle.